All right, check.
Check,
We're
check.
live. Cameras
Live.
rolling.
Rolling.
Videos going. You set to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, Miss
I'm ready
Stacy
for
Lynch.
this.
Thank you so much for coming on here. You know, I invited you on here, I think, as my first guest
Aw,
on the podcast.
that's so sweet.
Well, it's because I don't want to jump the gun here. We're going to talk about your podcast. But I saw that, and I remember thinking, oh, man, this is amazing. I've been thinking about doing this. I'm going to start doing this. We have to join. We have to be one of the
Collab.
first ones. So I remember asking you. We were texting around Christmas time, early January, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna unveil this ParkerCAST here at Northside Remedy, and I'd love to have you on there." And you were like, "Oh, of course, I'm down. What date you thinking about?" And I gave you the date, and you replied back, "Well, I'm going to the inauguration."
Yes.
How did that go?
Well, plans change.
Plans do change.
Yeah, so the first time you called me to ask me to be on ParkerCAST, I was actually at the hospital with my husband. We had a gas explosion in our house on January 1st, the morning of New Year's. My husband always says, I started off the year with a bang.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was a gas explosion.
So that's what it was. I remember many of us, all of us watching, Stacey, we all followed it intently. There was more hearts and more prayers on your Facebook posts than I've seen in a long time. It was really heartwarming to see. And but I didn't know the what. Like,
yes,
the fireplace exploded, so it's a gas.
It was a gas fireplace, and long story short, it wouldn't ignite. My husband took the glass off. Note to everybody out there: don't take the glass off of a gas fireplace. So that it took that layer of protection off, and he went down to wipe off some soot. There shouldn't have been soot on there, but he went down there to wipe off the soot. When he did, it exploded. He had second and third degree burns. We were in the hospital, the burn unit, for about 4 or 5 days, and he is 100% healed by the grace of God.
Really?
Yes, 100%. He went back to work on last Tuesday, got COVID on Wednesday, so he's been home for another week. Yeah,
Okay.
Mama ready to go back to work.
Yeah. All right, so 100%, because
Yes.
as we're following this on social media, it definitely seemed a little touch and go, but that is as you said, by the grace of God.
Yes.
That's absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic.
So there wasn't any. They said you're for sure going to have skin grafting. You're going to have more surgeries. We went back to the follow-up appointment at the burn unit. They took off the bandage, and they're like, "I can't believe what I'm seeing. Like we're leaving the bandages off, and you're going to be fine. No more surgeries." And so, yeah.
Power of prayer.
Yes, and God had a blanket of protection over Daryl. He's got a lot more to do with my husband Daryl. He's an amazing gentleman, and God works in his life all the time. So
I remember you guys came into Parker County Brewing Company when I was involved in that, probably 2018 when we first opened. He bought one of the very first brown Parker County hats.
Oh, he still has it.
And then I followed him on Facebook for the next 2 years, and it's like every other hat he wore was that hat. And I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
I like this guy. He's loyal. I like
He
it.
is.
I like it.
He is.
Yep.
He's very
We got to
loyal.
get him the logo's a little different now. They got the blue. Ryan
Yes.
Stewart's doing
Yep.
great things
With
out
the horse
there.
and-
they got the horse, so I don't know if he's got a hat, but we might have to
Yeah.
make sure he gets one of those. Awesome. So I'm here. We didn't do the formal introduction because I did want to get into your husband. That was something that was on the minds of a lot.
Thank
of
you very
folks.
much. Thank you, everybody out there, for the prayers too. That meant a lot to us.
Absolutely. Stacy Lynch Legacy. How did this all get started? I mean,
Well-
you are a big player in the commercial real estate market here in Parker County.
Well.
It doesn't just happen.
Right. It was a journey. So my family started the real estate company in Aledo, East Parker County, in 1972. So I was just a little bitty baby girl going to Aledo Elementary School. Graduated from Aledo. My mother and dad both worked together on a daily basis. And then when I turned 18, I'm like, I guess I'm supposed to go in real estate.
Okay.
So I did. I got my real estate license in 1984. So I've had my license for going on 41 years now.
You started it at 18.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And so I hit the ground running. I actually had 2 starts in real estate. This is kind of the journey that I'd like to share with everybody. Was that first one was just run and gun, do it my way, balls to the wall, hit it hard every day, all day, every day. Because, there's a lot of pressure being the preacher's son and the broker's daughter,
Okay,
you know.
okay.
So it was like, I've got to prove myself that I can do this. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just hit it so hard, and I did it my way. And I was just like, it took me 15 years, and I burned out. So in 1998, I think, I took a 14-year hiatus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing this. You're fast and furious.
Mm-hmm.
84 to 98,
Right.
and we're calling that doing it your way.
Doing it my way, yes.
Okay.
And my way failed. So,
And then we took a 14-year,
yes, I
hiatus.
I moved to South Texas for 14 years and continued to do life my way.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I just was really in a place of, you know, I don't know, thinking that it was great to be a stay-at-home mom.
Sure.
And
It is pretty great.
It is pretty great. It is pretty great. And I was very successful the first 15 years. It wasn't that I failed in the business. I just failed at time management. I failed at the skills of staying in something for the long haul.
So can I, again, I hate interrupting you.
That's okay.
guys. But, you know, the 80s and 90s are different, of course, than today. But could that advice be applicable to someone today? Like, what was absent in your strategy?
Yes.
What were you missing in your
Yes.
strategy then that possibly could help a listener or
Yes.
somebody? Like, I'm sure it's all fairly applicable.
Yes, this is extremely applicable. So in 2012, I went through probably the worst time of my life. I was very broken. I was broke,
Okay.
and I was going through a divorce, and it was life changing for me. It humbled me. It took me to my knees, and that was the moment I told the Lord. I said, anything that you bring to me from this point forward, I'm going to believe it's from you, and I'm going to say yes. And He literally took me on a journey. And He restored my strength. He restored my soul. He made me a different person. And I started doing life His way, and that was in 2012. And so I was selling Mary Kay. I was a Mary Kay executive director. I moved up the chain really fast.
Wait, so you were real estate successful 80s, 90s.
Yes.
Stay-at-home mom. Now you're selling Mary Kay.
Oh, yeah, I was Mary Kay. And I was also the marketing director for the Fort Worth Stockyards for 5 years.
I love that.
Yeah, it was fun.
That actually
didn't
sounds
make
like
any
a lot.
money.
No, that's
but it was so much
really?
fun.
Oh,
Pioneer
okay.
Days and Chisholm Trail
What's
Days.
going on right now?
Oh yeah, cowboy
the stock
hat
show is killing it.
I wore my cowboy hat.
Stockyards.
I was at Stockyards. Yeah, Fort Worth Stockyards. I was the marketing director there.
Can you believe the Stockyards now?
Oh, it's crazy.
Compared to, we're from New York, moved down maybe 18 years ago. The Stockyards is, it is oddly
insane.
recognizable, but then you go one street over to like some of their new stuff.
The
It's
Drover Hotel.
But there's there's a 2-story brewery
Yeah,
there.
that's
There's all these
amazing.
restaurants.
Yeah,
So you were marketing director
Yes.
for the Stockyards.
And I was also the marketing director for, I'm not sure if you know about this, but Parker County had a horse race track.
I do know about
Yeah.
that. It's not far. We're talking East Parker County.
Yeah.
In fact, the property we did the Parker County Brewing Company on, the Wilkes
Right, was-
property, all their signage, their logos
Was
is
the
horses. And
That's where the racetrack
the
was.
Yeah.
Where the district is right now, and where Drake Joke and the Park County, all that was the racetrack.
They still have one of the judges' towers.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you've seen
no,
that
I haven't.
behind the district.
Okay.
There's a row of trees.
Uh-huh.
The creek,
Oh, yeah.
probably a branch of the Trinity or something. And then behind that, there's one old rusty tower, and it's a
I
judge's
didn't know
tower that
that.
is still there to this
Wow.
day.
Well,
And it has signs on it: "Don't climb the
Yeah.
tower," so nobody climbed the tower.
yeah, nobody climbed the
But
top.
it's a judge's where they would
Wow.
use binoculars and do the horse races.
I'll have to go
Yeah,
check
yeah.
that out. Well, I was also the marketing director for Trinity Meadows Racetrack when it failed. So
I've heard, and again, I'm coming from New York, but I don't think that was the marketing director's fault.
Oh,
I
not.
believe there was some timing with the Arlington Raceway.
there was, yes.
And the Arlington Raceway, that's not with this that's a different podcast. But I don't think that was
Yeah.
yours or anyone else's
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
If if all of a sudden Fort Worth started a professional baseball team to compete with the Mavericks sales would go down. Or
Exactly.
excuse me, the Rangers sales would go down.
Right,
So
right.
That's what happened.
That's
you know,
right.
and that's fine and whatever you're going to do with it. Okay, so let's keep on that. So we kind of got your story coming up. You're now in East Parker County. East Parker County is booming.
Can I finish up my second
Oh,
my
absolutely.
second
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just because this is where I think the story changes for my life.
Yeah, keep it.
And so in 2012 I came back, and my dad came to me and he said, I know you're selling Mary Kay. He said, but are you ever thinking about getting back in the real estate business? And I'm like, Dad, the market is horrible. It was like, and it was 2008, 9, 10. That's all I knew. And he said, it's fixing to shift. We're fixing to have a huge shift, and you need to get on board. And he said, if you don't, I'm selling to our competition.
Oh, no.
And we were Century 21 at the time. And I'm like, you can't sell a 37-year-old family business. And he said, oh, yes, I can. So, I mean, immediately got back on track, got in the office. That was in September. My dad took me by the hand. He was the one that said, you have got to be the commercial expert in this marketplace. You've been in the business long enough. Learn commercial, because that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Told me a few other things about Facebook, and he didn't do Facebook, but he just said you got to have a Facebook page. But he died 3 months later.
What was the year?
That 2012. I started
2012.
September 2012. That's when I came back. That was my second go around, and then 3 months later, my dad passes away.
So I'm sure there's some not divine intervention, but he had one last mission. He had one last mission. He had one last message.
Yes.
I'm a father of 3 girls. There will be a day where I'll have one last message, and I hope it's I hope it's as well received.
Yes.
You see, I'm sure there's dads out there all over this country that have one last message, and it's not necessarily well received.
Right.
Sounds like you received it.
I did receive it. I received it, and I got some help, to get my life back together, and went from broken to be saved. And my
Stacy,
scripture.
nobody does it alone.
I know.
Just so you know, nobody does it alone.
Isaiah 40:31 brought me back to where I am today, and it's for those who hope in the Lord, He will renew their strength, and you'll fly on wings like eagles. That was the scripture that got me through, the passing of my dad, and really starting my business again. And that's where Lynch Legacy came to fruition. That's when I changed the name. My mother kept the business for 4 years. I had to raise money to buy it from the family. Finally, in 2017, I bought the real estate company. We had 23 agents, and we're up to 60 right now. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very good.
So it's been amazing. But I finally said, Jesus, take the wheel.
Okay.
I own my business. You're the boss of my business. I'm going to do whatever it is you tell me to do, and then I can't make any mistakes.
So that's a good segue into the business is doing well.
Yeah. It's doing
East
very
Parker
well.
County is doing
yes, good place at the right time.
Talk to me about that. Like what's
Loving
popping
it.
here in East Parker
Yeah,
County?
yeah.
I mean, the Dean Ranch has not broken ground yet, or have they?
So
UTA is coming.
Oh yeah,
They've already
UTA.
broken ground?
Yes, they have broken ground. So the story about Parker County, East Parker County, Parker County in general. Did you know there's 60 families moving to Parker County a week? 60 families a week. Do the math on that.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
Right. Yeah.
It's just it's exploding, but East Parker County is a little bit different than Parker County as a whole, and the reason is the income level is a little different. It's about
absolutely.
It's about 150,000 annual income per family. Then it also it's closer to Fort Worth, so the values of the land's a little higher. So basically, there's 26,000 acres of ranch land. But from the Parker-Tarrant County line to Hudson Oaks.
Wow.
There's 26,000 acres. And so when Walsh sold...
Current undeveloped, or
no,
is
that's,
that before
that would
Walsh
be,
and Dean?
Yeah, that's
okay.
the total ranch land that was
Okay.
held in, in trust and things like that. So then when Walsh Ranch sold, everybody's like, what happened out here? Well, when one triggered, it started triggering other ranches. So 4 ranches have sold so far. And that's Veal, Dean, Walsh.
Is that where Morningstar is probably too?
Morningstar is not it's
Okay.
by Walsh, but it's not in a ranch. And then also the Kelly Ranch out south, where the new golf course is going,
Yeah.
Tiger Woods Golf Course.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about that.
Oh yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
It's funny. Somebody was joking. I am not at that level at the podcast yet, but they're like, "Oh, you got to get Tiger Woods on your podcast."
Yeah.
And I was like, let's hit the brakes on that a little bit.
You never know.
Well, it's as I've said, Stacy, you can be the biggest game in town, or you can be the only game in town.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Either
true.
one gets you the same
That's right.
result.
That's right. You need to come on quick.
That's right. So that's funny. So
Yeah.
so Dean is happening. Dean's
Yes.
cool. Any movement on that? Like I
Yes.
said,
Yeah.
Is the ground breaking on that? I guess.
Yes, so,
I just don't drive by. I'm
Sure.
on the interstate.
Yeah,
I'm on the
I'll give you
interstate.
a good update on it. So Dean is 2,000 acres. It's on both sides of the interstate at the Aledo exit, 1187 and I-20. We had the 323 acres on the southwest corner. We closed that with Mr. Bell. He is in the process of master planning that right now. Several LOIs on
David? Who, Mr. Bell?
Robert Bell.
Robert Bell.
He
Robert Bell.
owned.
That was Bourbon and Branch.
Oh, yeah.
He leased us. I
Yes,
signed
he
with
did.
Robert. He was a great guy. Him and his son are awesome. Yeah.
And you probably don't know this, but he owned the downtown Weatherford Theater. He was the original owner of that, or maybe not the
Interesting.
original. He may have been the second or third,
Yeah,
but he
yeah, sure,
owned
sure.
it for a period of time. So
No, he's
got
he's great.
Yeah.
Big fans of his. I actually walked through the woods with the late Brian Lixie on the south side of the interstate.
Oh, yeah.
Of Hudson Oaks.
Right.
Which I don't know if you've getting involved in that.
Yes,
but
we are.
Once that south side
Oh yeah,
goes.
oh yeah,
I think that's Costco's one thing.
Yeah,
HEB's
Costco's big.
one thing.
Right.
These are huge.
right. Jason's Deli.
But yes, Jason's
Sprouts.
Deli, Sprouts. But there's still this. Once the south side
Oh yeah,
lights the match, a kaboom.
Kaboom.
I think that's
Yeah.
my own little there's still this. Everything's exploding on the north side.
right.
Huge, huge,
In
amazing,
Hudson Oaks.
and it's. But half of it is undeveloped.
Oh,
the
it's-
south
it's
side's
just waiting.
undeveloped.
Oh, yeah.
It's just waiting.
Yes,
and
yes.
that's the big one. I'm kind of just like, oh my goodness.
Waiting, right.
When we have both sides of the interstate, like they truly do in Frisco and
Right.
stuff,
Oh,
it
yeah.
will be unrecognizable.
Yes.
It's still recognizable today, if you ask me. I've only
is.
been here 25 years, so it's still. I'm out by Lake Weatherford. I love the marina. We love the marina.
We do too. Well, we live on the
Tavern.
lake. We live
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Lake Weatherford. Do you live on Lake Weatherford?
Stacy, I bought a small little property on the across from the marina.
Yeah.
2005, and built my family a home. My father and I. I mean, with hammers and nails and Black and Decker
Oh,
bolts.
my goodness.
Roof leaked for about a year, but I built my own home
Yeah.
and sold it. Moved in Silverstone, came back. Now I'm back in the Lake Hills Estates. I think
Oh,
is
Lake
what
Hills
it's
is
called.
nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm there. I'm around there. I love it. That's my community. I've lived for the last 20 years within 3 homes within a mile.
Oh, that's
all
good.
of there,
Yeah.
right there. Mary Martin. We love it all.
Oh, yeah.
And but the Tavern on the Lake is
Amazing.
my-
Oh, Tavern on the Lake is good.
yeah,
Good stuff.
Randy and them over there at the tavern. It's crazy.
Yeah, Randy's done a good job.
It's I mean, there's something about it. It's the food is good, great. The beer selection's great. The staff is amazing.
Amazing.
Love the view. I don't know. They are. I was about to say I don't know why they're not packed every day. They are on the nicest days of the year.
They are very, very
You can't
packed.
get a seat.
Yes.
Bingo night, you can't get a seat.
That's right.
Trivia
Bingo's
night,
big.
you can't get a seat. So they're crowded tons. But yeah, I love it. Anyway,
I do
live
too.
there.
I love all of Parker County, but of course my heart's in the eastern side, and I'm just really at the right place at the right time. And like I said, I truly gave the business to the Lord, and He's brought me some amazing clients.
awesome.
And one of them is Bryson Adams, which is Brothers in Christ LLC, which is who bought Dean Ranch.
Okay.
He bought 1,500 acres on the it's on the east, southeast side of 1187, going into downtown Aledo.
Okay.
We're in the process right now of annexing into Willow Park, bringing all the infrastructure. So that'll be happening in Q4, probably Q3 or Q4 of this year. And we already have LOIs on the majority of the property. LOIs, in case you don't know, is letters of intent.
Letters of intent.
Basically, it's just an intentional letter of what your intentions are before you go spend money on attorneys.
Anything cool coming that our viewers might not know about? Anything? Because you're not allowed to talk about everything.
No.
You got to keep stuff.
Yeah.
It's a business. But so what we talked about the Sprouts. We talked about Jason's Deli. Those are big. Hudson Oaks is getting a hotel. I know that. I don't think that's your product.
Yes,
but
Hilton
there's-
too.
They're getting a Hilton right there in
Yep,
Hudson Oaks.
they are.
That's
There'll
crazy.
be many more. There'll be many more of those
Oh,
for
really?
sure. Yeah. There's of course, we have the 1,500 acres is about 60 acres of that is commercial.
Okay.
We already have several developers that are coming out that want to build in some very high end, shopping centers, community commercial type office spaces. We have some smaller grocers that are more boutique grocers that are looking
Love it.
internally.
Yeah.
We also have, and there's quite a bit of multifamily on this track, and the reason is you got to remember, Bankhead Highway, if and when it gets extended through Dean Ranch, will dump right into where UTA is going to be.
Oh, wow.
So there's going to be a huge need there for some housing. But we also have some industrial on the backside. Industrial is a big deal right now in Parker County. I think Stephanie Rich and I, she's one of my business partners in
Sure.
commercial. I think we probably have 700,000 square feet of industrial space.
Wow.
Either leased or on the market to lease. Just it's exploding, and we have some office spaces. We have developers that'll build like 15,000 square feet shopping centers, and they'll be leased out before we finish.
I love it.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It is good. It
Yeah.
is good. And the properties, there in Willow Park, I mean, they seem to be doing great. So
They are.
well, you've given us a nice little glimpse into the real estate world and your backstory and your history. But if someone wanted to hear more, they now have that ability.
Yes.
There is a podcast.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about
Oh,
that.
absolutely. My business partner is Danielle Ford. She's here in the audience along with her husband, Bill Ford. They came to support us, which is amazing. They're just been very, very faithful in our business and the walk of this podcast. So,
Sure.
so when you turn my age, I had my big 6-0 this year. I don't want to burn out again. I don't want to burn out in real estate again. This has been the best 11 years of my entire life.
Excellent.
It has been, and I want it to continue. So I have learned that as long as I'm learning new things, as long as I'm engaging in things that challenge me,
Okay.
that I don't get burned out. You get off of the rat race. And so I've been praying about podcasts for some reason. I don't know why.
Interesting.
For about 2 years, I'm like, I would love to, I don't know that I have a story to tell, but I still would like to tell a story, and just, there's
Humans love stories.
yeah, they do. We're big storytellers.
I mean,
too.
around the fire back.
Yes.
This is
Oh, yeah.
this is quite clinical. The biology of us. We are captivated by
Yes.
the story.
We are.
When someone starts engaging, and you have to be a good storyteller, but
Yeah.
the good storyteller. The good storyteller is, he's up there in the tribe.
That's
he or she
you.
is up
That's
there in
you,
the
Josh.
tribe.
You're
Well,
already getting so much.
We'll see.
So much traction with your podcast. I'm really proud
Thank
of you.
you.
It's
No,
amazing.
I appreciate it. The podcast is successful because we got good guests.
Yeah, well, thank
so,
you.
definitely. So, where can folks hear your podcast?
Yes. So the name of the podcast. So Danielle came to me, and she's their new agent or new to my company, and they're like, "We want to join your team, but I want to do a podcast." I was like, "What?" And I was like, I would love to. She goes, "Would you be my partner?" I'm like,
So she brought that to
she
you,
brought,
even though you
God,
had been thinking
God
and praying
brought
on it.
Danielle to me, and then Danielle brought me the
Love it,
podcast.
love it.
So, and Bill is an amazing commercial broker.
Mm-hmm.
He's really hot on the trail right now and really growing his business in the commercial world. He's been a huge asset. But so back to the podcast, I just really wanted to try something new, and it has been so amazing. Like I learned through my podcast that my learning style is read write. And so, so I love just researching,
Okay.
the material for the podcast. I love just really diving deep into
And
a
the
topic.
topic of it is
Be blessed in real estate.
be blessed in real estate,
Yes.
but the top is real estate. Yeah,
Oh, it's a faith. Yeah, so
faith-based real estate.
Yes, it's a faith-based podcast to where we align our real estate company with the guiding principles of faith and family. And so, like I told you, we structure all of our business around Colossians 3:23, which is whatever you do, do it with all your heart, as for working for the Lord, not man. And so she had the same vision. We were in total alignment, and I just we can do this. And so we talk about stories and she's I think 3-year agent. I'm 40-something. So we both have different levels of wisdom and different ideas. I mean, she comes up with some really great stuff.
Well, the quantity that you're putting out. I mean, when I first saw it right before the holiday break, right before Christmas, I listened to the first 3.
Oh, thank you.
And then when I just had asked her tonight, she said we've had 33.
Yeah.
Or something,
Yeah.
someone.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like,
that's,
what?
That's all Danielle.
Oh, wow. I was like, oh, my
she calls
goodness.
me. She's like, "It's Tuesday," and I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, yeah.
And it was hard at first. I mean, we all have a hard time with speaking, especially about ourselves and storytelling and coming up with and making sure you don't say something wrong. And in real estate, there's a lot of liability in the word, and so you have to be really careful in what we say. But she's been tremendous. She scripts all of our podcasts,
Excellent.
and it's been fun. You're going to be one of our guests if you would be so kind.
I'm going to do it. I'm a guest. We're gonna do. It's called a collab.
That's
We're gonna
right,
do a
collab.
collaboration. We're gonna do a collab.
That's right.
No, I love it. No, the real estate being important and having litigation and liability. I mean, when I was on the school board here in Weatherford, we broke into executive session very rarely.
Right.
Everything is supposed to be into the public and open, and it was. But whenever it came to real estate, state law, you go into closed
Executive session.
You go into
Yep.
executive session,
Oh,
closed
yeah.
session, because it's really there is a lot of liability, and you have to be
Yes.
very careful. You can be friendly, you can be, but you have to cross your T's and dot your I's because there is liability, litigation,
Yes.
there's values there,
Right.
there's money, so you have to be extremely professional
Right.
on them.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to show real estate in a different light. People think it's cutthroat. You're on an island by yourself. You got to make it or break it, and it's not that way. It can really be a collaborative effort. You can give to your teammates. You can give to the community, and you get blessed back. It's all a blessing, and I think if you can keep that mindset that whatever you're doing, whether it's giving to the community, going to a class, volunteering at Center of Hope, you're giving to the community, but you're also fulfilling a need that we all have internally.
Can you talk? We got maybe 2 minutes left, but you have peaks and valleys in the industry. Real estate industry has peaks and
Absolutely.
valleys. So it appears that right now it might be more of a valley than it was 3 years ago,
Yes.
5 years, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Interest rates on homes, et cetera, interest rates on property. How are you navigating these
Yes.
waters?
So I think, me as the team lead of our company, I had to really encourage my agents to, it's all a mindset. It really is. Like, things are still moving. It's just
They are
either
still
you're going to
moving.
sell it or somebody else is, and if you have the right mindset and you go in there and you prioritize your thought process, then you can overcome the valleys. And you also have to have a really great support group. You don't want to go through a valley by yourself. You really do need to be, engaged with other agents, with your vendors, with people like you in the community. Just really, it's a tough year. Last 2024 was a tough year.
Was it? Okay.
Yes, it was a tough year. Now, I'll be honest, if we do commercial, industrial, we do multifamily, I know my dad told me, he says, after 40 years, you should be able to learn how to do it all.
Yep.
So I sell home, I go to a housing appointment, and then I go to a multifamily appointment. And that's what I love about it too, is the diversity. I think some agents like to do this niche thing. When you do that, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage, because what if that niche kind of dries up? And that's really the only thing that you've invested your marketing dollars into.
Which could appear to be amazing that you are a niche, but a niche. But
Yeah.
But then, like you're saying,
Yeah.
if the market turns
Yeah.
and that niche is
Yeah.
no longer a thing,
You need to be a niche in all of it.
you need to be a very large niche.
Yeah, you do.
interesting.
You
Well,
do.
as we end, I'd love just some closing messages, words of wisdom, Stacy. Whether it's to the listener, family members, friends, any words for the husband, anything. This will hopefully live on for the next 2,000 years.
I love
in
it.
the ethos.
I love
so the floor is yours.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I want to make a shout out to my mom. The strongest woman I've ever met, taught me more about tenacity than anything. And I just love her with all my heart. And of course, Daryl Evans puts up with me every day. And my mom told him, he's like, when he first married me, he's like, if you don't put any cuffs on her and let her fly and be an eagle, she'll do very well. And he has. He's been so supportive. He's just been there for me to pick me up and encourage me, and I just totally appreciate that. And I appreciate guys like you in the community that support other people in the community. I think it says a lot for Parker County.
Awesome. Stacy, thank you so much
Yes,
for being on.
thank you.
Yes, love it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.